Good morning. Today you are listening to Superhuman Channel Talk Radio. I'm your host, Todd Smith, aka Maz Avenger. Hey, I just want to share some news with you all today. And today, I just want you to look at these slides, of old school video games, when I was coming up in my years from arcades, from PlayStation, and even though if I don't share that photo, but let's look at the old school games, on this slide, what I'm about to share, and also enjoy the audio what I'm sharing today. And today I just want to share all the wonderful things that, I enjoy coming up with my brothers. I'm going to share a little history with you all, how I got involved with video games. My mother had so many sons, and my daddy, who was alive and well, played a part in our lives like that. But he went into video games, but my dad was there. But anyway, me at the time, when I came up with came up in my time frame of my life, grew up around Atari, ColecoVision, Intellivision, and the Odyssey, all these game consoles that came out when I came, coming up in the U.S. Was a great, wonderful time, man. I really enjoyed them times of coming up until, in the mid 80s that they introduced, Nintendo to the U.S. And I remember, me and my brother, which is, my adopted brother. I call him my adopted brother, because he's like a big brother. He always used to take us to the comic book store when we was young. And I remember I was in the comic book store, and then I ran to these Japanese, books and comics and stuff like that. And I remember I saw these big old pile of books, video game books, and I picked one of them up. And that's when I saw, the NES. But the NES wasn't introduced to the United States yet. It was still in Japan. And I remember how good the graphic was. And I was very excited to able to see something like that, because that's something I never saw before versus, Atari and ColecoVision graphics. That was in the US. So as years went by, then I remember in the mid 80s that when Nintendo, was introduced to the US. And man, that's the most happiest thing that could ever happen to me. And man, I'm here to tell you, they brought out so many games that didn't make no sense. But I remember one of my best games was, Metroid. I love playing Metroid. That's one of my best games. And I remember my brothers and them was young. They didn't come to it yet, but they was on their way, to their uprise of their age. They started getting involved in video games just like they big brother is. I'm not the biggest brother, but like I'm the mid brother. But anyway, that when they started getting involved with it later, I remember that I used to sit there and just get musty playing, Metroid all day, and my brother and them just wanted to play a video game. My father loved us, but he wasn't a big fan of video games. He didn't like it. So we used to hurry up and get our games play out before he show up back to the home, to get us off the television. Everybody remember the one that the television that you had to use to dial, and some they had push button. I think I was playing on a push button, television. I ain't used the dial. But anyway, let me get into the story what I'm about to share. Me and my brother used to sit there and play games, all day and all night. When I turn around and introduce that to them, because they were the first generation that was under me, through the bloodline of my family, to turn around and start playing video games just all because of me. And it just went uphill from there. My brother and them just couldn't get off of video games. Today, my brother owns so many consoles, own a lot of consoles these days. The baby brother. And we just had a wonderful time. And then I remember when my brother, we used to eat our Roman noodles and stuff like that and play video games. I remember we bought the Super Nintendo in. That was done deal. Me and my brother used to sit there and play Super Nintendo all the time. I bought like accessories for the Super Nintendo, and that's all we used to do, was play games all the time. Then turn around and take out about 5 or 6 or 10 games, and then take it to GameStop, come back with one game. That sucked it so bad. That was a terrible deal. But anyway, and then we end up buying the games back and renting them back because that when the video stores was open, because we were silly enough to get rid of our games at GameStop just to play one game, and that sucked. Me and my friends actually brought video games to both our family bloodline, even with my sons coming up. But let me get into more, little to the detail of the story. Then I remember my son them, my son them wasn't born yet, they was coming in. But I remember when I got married, and then me and my spouse were living in our own place. And I remember that I went and visited my brother, and my brother was playing Metal Gear. I was hooked on Metal Gear, man. I was really stolen when it came down to that game console, the PlayStation 1. I remember me and my brother turning around, cause I bought a Nintendo 64 from GameStop. And I was married, still married at the time. And I remember I actually traded my brother and them for the PlayStation 1. And man, I was still hooked because I loved the PlayStation 1 over the 64. And I'm here to tell you, man, that's the most wonderful time that I ever had in my life with my brother. Then my descendants came along. And I try to keep my little descendants away from my, for my PS1 and PS2 at the time, in my time frame. And me and my brother them used to, my sons used to have a wonderful time enjoying wonderful stuff like that, when we was coming up. So I'm just saying, man, those were the most blast years that me and my son them ever had. And today, my son them in that today, they still haven't flee from. And I remember, back then when they actually introduced the old school games, when they came out with the, when they came out with the PS2, then we used to turn around and then play the PS1 games on that. And I remember, going to Walmart and actually, purchasing this stuff, at Walmart, and I bought my first, game console from there. And I had me and my brothers, my sons, used to actually sit there and play this thing all day, all the time. My best one was Ratchet and Clank. My son loved Sly Cooper. I think my junior turned around and played the Ratchet and Clank some of the series, and we used to play, Mega Man when it was introduced, to the GameCube and all that other stuff that, what we used to do. And that was the most wonderful time that we ever had, that we ever come up with. So in these times and ages that when they come out, whether you have an Xbox One or a PS4, it make both of you all winners at the same time. It don't matter what system you have. And my thing is that if you go out there and, you have your money around the holiday season or Black Friday, whatever you choose to get, you win on both halves. You get an Xbox One, you still playing, 360 game. I didn't have an Xbox One. Play Xbox 360 games. I was always, playing the PlayStation games since I was, stuck on a PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2. So I don't know, playing an Xbox is. So when it comes down to 360 games. And if you looking for on a PS4, then you turn around and then stick to that, and have a wonderful time, enjoying your purchase, what you have purchased at the store. And it's good that they had upgraded graphic and made it more better. But man, I had to do this show very quick, man. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me on my home Facebook page and leave your comments there. Or also you could turn around and then press subscribe, for YouTube channel, because I'm on YouTube. Now you can look me up on Ty Smith. But I thank you all for y'all support, man. Thank you all for you tuning in. And man, enjoy this holiday week. My name is Ty Smith, aka Mass Avenger. Thank you for you listening and tuning in. Superhuman Channel Talk Radio. Thank you all for your support. Peace.